Good day, everyone. I'm Jemarie Maligsa, and together with Miss Madeline Montecalvo, we'll be discussing mastering audio for distribution. Sa topic karon, atong i-explore ang mastering process, loudness standards, final quality control, ug exporting audio for different platforms. Imagine having 9,000 listeners or viewers. Dako siya nga responsibility, no? That's why mastering is very important. It helps make sure nga ang audio klaro, balance o professional paminawon bisan asa siya i-play. So these are the main points for this report. We have the mastering process, preparing audio for various formats, loudness standards and normalization for different platforms, final quality control, ensuring balance and distortion-free audio, exporting audio mixed for film, music, and media application. Okay, so here let's start with the mastering process, preparing audio for various formats. What is mastering? So mastering is the final stage of audio production. After a song, podcast, or soundtrack has been mixed, mastering prepares the audio for distribution across different formats and platforms like streaming, radio, TV, CDs, or film. It ensures the audio is balanced, consistent, and professional sounding no matter where or how it played. So ang atong goal is to make the sound balanced and consistent. Okay, so there are four main goals of mastering. So we have enhance overall sound, improve clarity, balance, and tone. Next is ensure consistency. Make tracks in album or playlist sound cohesive. Next, match platform standards. Follow loudness and format guidelines. And lastly, prepare deliverables. So export high quality files or various format. Okay, next. So these are the tools and steps used during mastering. So we have equalization. So EQ, adjust the tone balance of the track. So mo ni siya ang mo-adjust sa ato ang tone. Next is compression, make the audio sound tighter and more consistent. Control the dynamic range, different between loud and soft part. So mo ni siya ang para di kusog kaayo ang highs o di kaayo hilom ang lows. Next is limiting. So boost overall loudness to safe level without distortion. Limits peaks to avoid clipping, especially important for digital format. So mo ni siya ang mag-boost sa volume without making it distorted. Next is stereo widening. So enhance the width and spatial feel of a mix, used carefully to avoid phased issues. So mo siya ang mag-make the sound wider or mas immersive. Loudness adjustment. Set the volume to match the target LUFS, so loudness unit full scale. And last one is dithering. So prevent distortion and retains sound quality, used when converting to a low beat dip. So keeps the quality high when we lower beat dip. Okay, next, let's have the next slide. Okay, so preparing for various format. So mastered audio is exported in different formats depending on where it going. So each format has its own requirements. So this time we have different formats ang gamiton depende kung asa nato ipadala ang audio. So we have here format, we have the waveform audio file, so 22-bit 44.1 kilohertz. So yung usage is the digital distribution or CDs. So para ibaligya online or para CD. So yung bit rate or sample rate kay high quality. So mo ni siya ang best audio. And the remarks is industry standard. Kini ang kasagaran gamit sa industry. Next is MP3 or compressed audio file. So 32 kilobit per second. So streaming preview, naka-compressed. So gamay ang file size if MP3. So not ideal for mastering. So ang uban format like MP3, di kaayo maayo gamiton sa mastering stage. Next is FLAC or free lossless audio codec. So high risk download, so high quality nga i-download. Lossless, so same quality sa original pero mas gamay nga file size. And good for online sales. So MP3 or FLAC maayo para ibaligya. Next is AIFF or audio interchange file format. So we have here Mac-based system. So pang Mac users ni katong mga Apple's user. So same as Wave. So standard ang yang format and uncompressed. So Wave or AIFF kay wala siya gi-compress. So best quality gid siya. So makadungog mo sa mga iPhone or sa mga Mac nga laptop, makadungog mo nga ang ilahang audio is buo. Kanang limpyo siya paminawon. Next is BWF or broadcast wave format. So TV, film, broadcast kung gamiton sa TV, movies, or radio. So we have 24-bit, 48 kilohertz. So mas taas o quality pang video gid siya and support metadata. So ang uban format pwede matagaan og info like title or artist. Next is DDP, so Desk Description Protocol. So CD production kung mas pras ka og physical CD. So 16-bit, 44.1 kilohertz. So CD quality gyapon siya, used by manufacturers. So DDP gigamit sa mga printing companies para sa CD. Next is why format matters. So different platforms and purposes require specific technical standards. So we have here Spotify and YouTube normalize loudness. Mastering must account for LUFS. TV and film require clean dialogue and matching loudness level. And CDs need precise track spacing and fades. So ang platforms para sa Spotify, YouTube, o Netflix nagset og loudness limits. So example, Spotify normalizes audio to minus 14 LUFS. Kung sobra imong volume, i-adjust ra na nila. So kinahanglan i-master na to properly para di madaot ang quality. Next. Okay, so this time let's watch a video to learn more about mastering audio.
Mastering. That's a question that I was asked not too long ago by a friend of mine, actually a musician, so I was kind of struck that he didn't know what mastering was. But today on the channel Detroit Berlin, I'm going to explain what mastering is. I've been a mastering engineer for quite some time now. I work in the box, that means with plugins in the computer. But now I will be setting up an analog mastering chain with analog devices. On this episode I'm going to try to explain what mastering is. You got, for instance, a bunch of musicians. They perform the song in a studio where it gets recorded. Then the mixing engineer, he will mix everything. That means he will make sure that the drums are nicely panned, that you get sucked into the song, that all the levels are okay, that not the voice is like extremely loud or that the drums are like just on one side. He will make sure that everything works together well, and that will be a mix. He will use faders, volume faders. He will do this in the box, like inside of the computer with software, or on an analog mixing console. Now all these different tracks, they go to buses. Bus is where a few elements come together, like a few synthesizers might go to one bus to have a little bit more control when mixing the track. All those buses, they go to the master bus. The master bus is a stereo bus where everything comes together. The name says master bus, and you could master on the master bus, but it is much more likely that the master bus, it has a little bit of processing, but not to an extreme extent. A master bus should have enough headroom, should not clip or compress too much. When you export the song to a stereo track, then that stereo track, that pre-master, can go to a mastering engineer. And this mastering engineer, he will bring a fresh set of well-trained ears to the table. He will also use EQs, compressors, limiters, saturation. He will use a lot of tools to make an already good mix. He will make that amazing. If a mix maybe is a little bit too dull, he will bring life into it. He will make it louder so that it is radio ready, streaming platform ready, CD ready, vinyl ready. He might make different masters, one for CD, one for vinyl, exactly for that purpose. But a mastering engineer, he will finalize an already good mix and make it truly great. You could compare it with going to a restaurant. The restaurant has a kitchen. In that kitchen, there's a lot of personnel. They all do their own jobs. One will bake fries, one will cook the vegetables, one will make sauces. They all got their different specialities, and then it will be presented on a plate. The chef will come. The chef will see if it's seasoned well, if it looks nice. He will make the finishing touches so that a good dish becomes a great dish, an awesome dish. And then it goes to the customer. If a dish is way too salty, the customer won't like the dish as much. If it's too dull, also he won't have this excitement. Just the same with music. If a mix is too dull, it's not exciting. A mastering engineer, although he can't make a truly bad mix amazing, he can finalize a great mix, put a little bit of seasoning on it. If something is a little bit off, he can try to restore that. And that's actually the job of a mastering engineer. Now you can do mastering in the box, in the computer, with software, or you can do it outside of the computer with analog hardware. I've been mastering engineer for quite some time now, always worked in the box, which, believe me, can have really great results. Now I'm going to set up a mastering chain that is analog, probably hybrid, so I will still master a little bit in the box, but I will combine it with going outside the box, which means you got the pre-master in your DAW, your music program. It will be converted to an analog signal, therefore you need a good DA converter. Have two of them RME converters I will try out, and I will see which one fits my needs best. I had an Apollo, I also have a Big 6 from SSL, but for mastering you really need pristine DA conversion, and therefore I'm testing those ones out. After that conversion you go into your analog devices. In my chain are the SSL Fusion, which has mid-side mode. In the insert is the Bus Plus, a VCA compressor from SSL. Then it will go to the Tegler audio manufacturer EQP1, which is a Pultec style EQ. I'm using this in mid-side mode. For instance, when I'm adding some high frequencies only to the side, the image will get wider. And another benefit is that I can boost the bass only in the mid, because the bass should be pretty much in the middle. Then it's going back into the Fusion to be processed further, and then it will go to the Varitube compressor, also a device from Tegler audio manufacturer, a German company based in Tegel. And then it will go back into my converter and it will be recorded in the box, my music software, and then the last step will be in the box so that it doesn't clip, that the loudness is right. And what this analog mastering chain will actually give me is hands-on control. You can really work with those devices. It's also beneficial to go through analog hardware, just the flavor of analog hardware. It is very subtle, but it can open a mix a little bit. Of course, if your equipment is not of high quality, then you will actually hurt the sound and it's better not to go out the box. So therefore, if you don't have a really good ADDA converter, please don't go out the box, because you will lose some quality. So what else do you need for mastering? In the box, out the box, you need it for mastering. That is good monitor speakers, a good monitor controller, and maybe the most important thing for mastering is that you need an acoustically treated room, so you know what you're doing and you can hear what you're doing, you're getting the feedback you should get. If your room is unstable frequency-wise, you will not be able to master correctly in that room. So everything counts, because if you take one thing away, if you're trying to master in a basement that's untreated with just bare concrete, that will never give good end results. Maybe let's have a listen at some files that are mastered versus unmastered, and then you can hear for yourself what a mastering can do to a song.
Behold the storm takes form. Gather round, gather round, gather round. Behold the storm takes form. Gather round, gather round, gather round. Behold the storm takes form. Run for your life, run for your life, run for your life. Run for your life, 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 run for your life.
So I hope that was helpful, and if you want to hire me for
Okay, so that's all for the video. Now that we already understand the mastering process, now let's move on to loudness standards and normalization for different platforms. Okay, so what is loudness in audio? So loudness refers to how intense or powerful audio sounds to human ears, not just the volume setting. In audio production, we measure loudness using LUFS, loudness unit full scale, which reflects perceived volume more accurately than simple peak levels. Next, what is normalization? Okay, so normalization is the process of adjusting the loudness of audio to meet the target level set by a platform like YouTube or Netflix. This helps ensure that all content plays back at a consistent and comfortable volume, so users don't need to adjust their volume every time a new video or song plays. Okay, so normalization means adjusting the audio to match the platform targets para consistent ang loudness sa YouTube, Spotify, Netflix, or uban pa. Dili na mag-adjust si listener or si viewer every time. Okay, so next, okay, we have here a video about what is LUFS. Okay, so let's watch the video.
What is LUFS and why is it important? I'm Lauren Bregetzer, the audio professor, and I'm here to explain that to you. LUFS is important because almost all music streaming services play back their songs with their loudness normalized, in that each song is going to be perceived just as loud as the previous song and the next song. Most streaming services will measure their loudness in LUFS, so you need to learn to hit a target LUFS level when you mix and master your song. LUFS, also known as LKFS or LUFS, is a unit of measurement of perceived loudness to the human ear. Since the frequency response of human hearing is not flat, loudness needs to be measured in how we actually hear. The frequency curve in calculating the LUFS approximates a curve based on human hearing. This curve is referred to as K-weighting. Basically, the curve is a shelving EQ at about 2 kHz with a fairly steep low-cut filter at about 50 Hz. Side note, yes, I know that the curve appears above and below all of that, it's just that the frequency of shelving filters and low-cut filters are denoted by where the frequencies are boosted or cut 3 dB. I'm just trying to minimize some of the idiot comments on this video. Another aspect of LUFS is a loudness gate in the calculation of the level. If the average level drops 10 dB, then that duration is taken out of the LUFS calculation. For example, if you have a really soft bridge in your song or intro, that will not change the overall LUFS calculation for that song. Now, not all streaming services use LUFS for calculating loudness. Spotify uses a calculation called replay gain, and Apple Music uses a standard they created called soundcheck. However, the basic approximation of loudness for these services is roughly the equivalent of LUFS, so LUFS makes a great standard when releasing audio to streaming services. Now, the loudness level which all these streaming services use is approximately minus 14 dB LUFS, with the exception of Apple Music, which uses approximately minus 16 dB LUFS, and Deezer approximately minus 15 dB LUFS. So take into account that all of these streaming services will only lower your loudness level, with Spotify being the only service that will turn up your loudness level if it's too low. This means that you should aim to make your master a little louder than the streaming services. I personally aim for around minus 12 dB LUFS on my masters.
Okay, so that's all for LUFS. Now, this time, let's move on to loudness standard by platform. So we have here, LUFS again is a loudness unit full scale, and dBTP, so it's decibels through peak, so prevent digital distortion during playback. Okay, so here we have the platform or medium target loudness LUFS and true peak limit. So for Spotify, we have minus 14 LUFS. So in true peak, it must be negative 1.0 dBTP. Next is YouTube, same as Spotify, negative 14 LUFS. For true peak, negative 1.0 dBTP. For Apple Music, it's negative 16 LUFS, and same for true peak limit, negative 1.0 dBTP. For Amazon Music, it's negative 14 LUFS, and the true peak is negative 2.0 1.0 dBTP. For tidal, so it's negative 14 LUFS, and true peak is negative 1.0 dBTP. And last one is Netflix or TV broadcast. So the target loudness is negative 23 LUFS or negative 24 LUFS. And the true peak is negative 2.0 dBTP. Okay, so again, if you say dBTP, kay sukod sa pinakataas nga point sa audio signal after conversion to analog. So without clipping or distortion. Kung ang imong audio mula pa sa true peak limit, pananglitan mas taas pa sa negative 1.0 dBTP. So makadungog ka og crack or digital distortion inig playback labi na sa streaming platforms like Spotify or YouTube. So for example, kung ang YouTube nag-require og negative 1.0 dBTP, dapat ang imong audio dili mo lapas sa negative 1.0 sa iyang pinaka-peak level aron likay sa pagkaguba ang music. Okay, so now let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so why do platform use loudness standards? So here, help us audio feel uncomfortable. Kung kusog ra kaayo imong track, ipa move on ra gihapon na siya. And if hinay kaayo, murag lifeless siya paminawon. Okay, so we have here 4. So we have consistency, so prevent sudden volume jumps between programs or song. Next, listener comfort. So keep audio from being too loud or too quiet. Next is fairness. So prevent creators from using extreme loudness to stand out. And lastly is technical compliance. So ensure audio doesn't distort when compressed or streamed. So in this way, it can avoid sudden changes sa volume. So keep listener comfortable siya and avoid cheating. Kay uban mangusog lang para murag mas kusog ilang kanta. Okay, so next is what happen if audio is too loud or quiet. So if your audio is too loud above the LUFS target, the platform will turn it down. If it's too quiet, most platforms will not boost it, so it may sound weak. Next is poor mastering can lead to clipping, distortion, or sounding lifeless compared to other content. Kung sobra ang loudness, ipamubaan sa platform. Pero kung hinay ra kaayo, usually dili nila i-boost. So maglisod ang listener og tungog. Mao na siya na importante ang mastering in audio. Okay, next. So we have here key concepts in loudness normalization. So we have integrated LUFS, so average loudness over the whole track. Next, dynamic range, the space between the loudest and softest part. Over compressing reduces musicality. Next, true peak, maximum peak level including intersample peaks. And lastly, normalization filters, so algorithms used by streaming platforms to automatically adjust loudness. And last one, tips for mastering with loudness in mind. So use a LUFS meter to measure your track during mastering. Keep your true peak below negative 1.0 dBTP. Don't over compress just to make it louder. Platforms will reduce it anyway. Create platform-specific masters if needed. Example, one for Spotify or one for CD. So, always use a LUFS meter. So, ayaw siya i-overcompressed pod. And below lang dapat siya sa 1.0 dBTP. Okay, so maoto ang mga tips for mastering with loudness in mind, like using LUFS meter and creating platforms specific versions. So for the next topic, which is final quality control, ensuring balance and distortion-free audio, so Miss Madeline Montecalvo will continue the presentation. Miss Madeline?